or liberation just have vastly different understandings of what liberation is for.
I haven't seen this much importance and attention.
The story itself is a really wonderful, really great setup.
Tractor beam has been engaged.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Tractor Beam Comics Reviews, your home, confusing podcast. Let me try that again. Hello and welcome to the Tractor Beam Comics Reviews, your one-stop shop for in-depth commentary and discussion on this week's Star Wars comics. It is Wednesday, July 2nd, 2025. It's the 27th week of comics in 2025. We've passed the halfway point of the year. It's all downhill from here. No, I'm just kidding. I'm Matthew. He's Chris. Chris, long time no see. Good to see you again. How are you doing?
Yeah, it's good. I realized we wouldn't have been able to do the show last week anyway for spoilers for Trials of the Jedi. I know that the authors out there were like saying like, oh, don't worry about reading certain things, but there's something that I know you passed.
Yeah.
That if you read that comic last week, we would have been like, oh crap, that spoils the book. So it's a good thing we took a break because we were gonna review the Kylo Ren story at a later date anyway. So it wouldn't have been much of a show last week. Just talking about whatever comic news, if we even had any. I don't know.
Although that being said, one of the stories we're going to talk about effectively spoils, at least is the end of a whole thread in Trials of the Jedi. So you can't win some, you lose some, whatever it is. Get the plugs out of the way. You can follow us on Blue Sky at ironcannon.bluesky.social. So the Iron Cannon podcast, as well as the Tractor Beam, kind of fold those two in, of course, on the flagship, on all the socials at the SWU. Check that out as well. And you follow everything Chris is up to over on Twitter. So on the Bird app at Starraptor, STARRAPTER. And youtube.com/StarRaptor. You're talking video games, you're talking Star Wars, you're talking about a bunch of stuff. Oh, yeah. I'm guessing you're talking Jurassic World and all that too. My guess. I don't know. There we go. Everything pop culture, but a lot of focus on Star Wars.
I can't forget about the latest Marvel show too.
Ironheart.
Just finished this morning. Good show.
I've seen 4 episodes. I'm 4 episodes in of the 6, so I will have that finished as soon as I can. But yes, check that out. Again, youtube.com/StarRaptor. Also, I gotta say, we are proudly part of the Star Wars Underworld podcast network. I mentioned the socials before. We are part of the network here on the YouTube channel. We've got super chats, we've got YouTube memberships. So if you chat with us normally, we'll get to it as soon as we can. If you super chat us, I say this every week, if you're willing to contribute a little Republic credits to the cause, then we will interrupt ourselves mid-sentence as best we can to get to your comment, especially, and we'll get to any comment, especially if it's relevant, talking about the comics of the day, of the week, but other questions, why not? So yeah, please do. We're grateful for any support you're willing and able to provide. There we go. Also, the Discord server, the Star Wars Underworld Discord server, link in the description below. Lots of fun conversations about Star Wars and Marvel, and a little bit about that galactic map that I still have to get into more in depth in.
Same.
Even the interesting little conversation about Charles Soule's Legacy of Vader series. So feel free to chime in, comic book fans. Feel free to chime in there. Link in the description down below. There usually is either a movie night or games night. Apparently Friday there's some big holiday going on July 4th. Since when is there a holiday on July? I'm kidding. Down in America, you guys have your America Day on Friday, so they're taking a break. We had our Canada Day yesterday, so that was good too. So please do check out the Discord server. Hop on in. The water's fine. Last but not least, if audio is more your speed, if you prefer to listen rather than watch on YouTube, if you're driving, don't watch YouTube while you're driving, please. You can find us on Spotify and Apple Podcasts. Just search Tractor Beam Comics Reviews, and you'll find not this episode yet because we haven't finished it yet. But once we're done recording, I then throw it up onto Spotify and Apple Podcasts immediately after. So please do check that out there. Spotify and Apple. Check that out. Alrighty. Let's dive right in to our stories from this week. This one came out, I guess, 2 weeks ago, maybe. This is Tales from the Occlusion Zone, the final story, The Will to Fight, from Insider number 232, written by Lydia Kang with art by Jake Lunt Davies. And the first thing to say, speaking of spoilers for Trials of the Jedi, but that's okay. I mean, it's kind of obvious what would have happened.
Is that really though? Spoilers? What's spoiler here?
So Trials of the Jedi has Pika's still pregnant. They're flying in the Ori, and then it's in his story where they meet up.
The book yet? That's right.
Yeah. So
let me just say, there's an analogous scene in that book that doesn't spoil anything.
Okay,
you're better off having read the Insider issue now.
Okay, I mean it concludes their story.
It takes away the tension. Okay, so basically, when she comes out of the aircraft with the bleeding stomach, there's that moment of tension there. Yeah, you could have read this after the book, but I think it's a better experience to read it before the book.
Yeah, that's true.
The book actually tells you the aftermath even more so of what happens later on. That's all I'll say about that.
Okay, that's good to know.
So reading this is actually better reading it beforehand, because you get that moment where she's coming out, she's clutching her stomach, it's blood. It's like, oh shoot, is the baby actually dead? You know what I mean? And obviously it wasn't, thankfully, but it's really not a big deal if you read either one first, but I think it's better to read it first, Insider.
Yeah. I mean, my experience of it is you were following Jocelyn Picca. Maybe here's the thing: is that most of this story is Ebby and Visma and what's his face, the other guy,
Elping.
Tulping, and Elping rather, and
Elping.
So most of the story focuses on them, but we've spent all this time with Jocelyn Picca, so my mind focuses on them, except that they're only kind of at the end of this one, whereas in Trials of the Jedi it's there's some significant point of view chapters with Joss especially. So anyway, that's okay. I'll take your point and feel better about it. But I mean, to that point though, just to get back into the review of the story itself, Lydia had a really great way of building up that suspense and building up the tension and stress of, here's this woman, she's about to pop and about to give birth, and she's flying right into battle here, as we knew Picca would do that. So very much, really getting in her mind, in her determination, in Joss's determination to fight on for the sake of their baby, for the sake of the future, and of course that's how the story ends. I was really impressed by Ebby and 6N, the droid. Is it 6? Yeah, 6N. Just really getting really resourceful, kind of pulling out the it's a bit of an old Star Wars trope, almost going back to Empire Strikes Back, like the conveyor belt into the smelter, but it works because it builds up the tension. I think it's not a bad that it's a trope, but here we go again. But it works because it builds up the tension, and maybe the interesting angle here is Ebby has to hold on to 6N and try to grab on, or however they're able to get out. And I really appreciate just the banter between the two of them. That banter between a human and a droid will come up later on in this episode, but definitely a moving, poignant, and I'm glad we got this time with Ebby and with Visma and Elping. They've clearly softened for each other. I kind of ship them. Elping and Visma, I ship them. At the end, they're leaning on each other because Elping's injured, and there's this wonderful moment of, I said at the beginning, Elping says to Visma at the beginning, you'd rather me. I fell, and she whispers to him, war changes people, hopefully for the better. And that, I mean, that's a macro statement on for the whole High Republic initiative, right? All these characters have come that we've seen come through, and of course, I'm still reading the grand finale of it. I'm more than halfway there. I'm more than halfway in Trials of the Jedi, but that they've all really gotten hopefully hardened and softened at the same time at their best, and this is what we see with Phasma. The struggle and trial of being stuck in the occlusion zone and then fighting in this battle of Yaddle has made her realize what is important in life and what matters. And what matters are the relationships and the reason you fight for freedom and justice. And she definitely has melted in a good way. And so the moment of vulnerability, of kindness, and of acknowledgement of that they need each other. And so it was a really sweet, poignant moment. And then the final poignant moment is Hedda, oh my gosh, Hedda Adren, right? The baby, naming after Hedda Cassett, right?
Mm-hmm.
And Ebby's right there to witness that. Her eyes get glossy, starts to well up, which really, really poignant moment, ending this wild battle that we've gotten in these pages of this magazine for months on end. And just all the way going back to the Charles Soule one on Starlight Beacon, right? This couple and this little corner of the High Republic. It's been a great journey, and great to see it, at least in these pages. As you say, there'll be more of their journey to come in Trials of the Jedi, but seeing these pages come to a conclusion. So great finish. Hard to finish a story. A great finish. So those are my thoughts. What do you think of Tales from the Occlusion Zone, The Will to Fight?
Yeah, I thought it was, as I said before, Lydia Kang. She always does a great job with illustrating and imagining what the boots on the ground war would be like. So it's way violent. Like, it's interesting. Like, you go from the High Republic Adventures, issue 19.
Yeah.
And it's a war, but it feels more fun, more zany in a way. It's very colorful. You go to this, and it's almost like Alexander Freed's Battlefront Twilight Company. It's like people getting off left and right, people screaming in pain. It's like Band of Brothers meets Saving Private Ryan levels of violence happening. And it's like, okay, so we have that same battle, but in like different mediums, and it could be completely different. So I always like reading her stories because it really does like level the impact. Same thing with Charles Soule's Trials of the Jedi. It's like, oh my gosh, you like read the Yaddle stuff, and it's like it is freaking intense, like what is happening to the people, to the war that's happening there. Other things I liked are the droid. I thought the droid was great. CO6N or COSN, the savior. I mean, this droid had the programming to deliver this baby. But that was pretty cool. The droid got shot a few times and still was able to survive. The tenacity and drive of Pika. I mean, the fact that she was safe. She was on the third horizon in orbit. Like, she could have just called it a day, had the baby, been nice and safe with all the help she needs, but is still willing to risk her and the baby's safety to go save. See, I always read it as Ebb, but I guess Abby makes a better pronunciation. Ebby, Ebb, whatever. Because it goes down there and finds her, but then but she's also doesn't need help either, because she single-handedly with a droid is able to destroy that place from the inside out. So I really like that, and I'm happy you mentioned it with the Elping and Varco. I wrote a note down saying they're actually getting along, because after all these months they were kind of snapping back and forth with each other, and it's funny because you often forget, I think, that like they literally started this story on this planet. They were at the base, they went out, they got stuck in the occlusion zone, and here we are now. It's like they got back there, and now it's all out war, like you said. So everything that these characters went through, you have all this tension over the last several months. The entire length of the story is like okay, when's this baby gonna get delivered? When is this coming? This imminent event that will happen, and you get that tension, and that relief at the same time. So, yeah, you said it's hard to cap off a story, but I think Lydia did the best she could with the minimum amount of time and space in a story you could write when it's in a magazine. And for those, I know we were wondering, it's like, wait, where's Josh been this whole time? You get to learn a lot about Josh as a POV character in Trials of the Jedi, which I was very happy to discover upon reading it.
Yeah. They're definitely firing on all cylinders at the end of this whole initiative. Like really well planned out, really integrated. It is, like your point, contrasting with HRA. I haven't read 19 yet, but I guess you're saying I can now because I've read the chapter. but that the scale of that story is just smaller because we're following these younger characters. It's a YA story. This like the Tales from the Occlusion Zone also feels a little smaller, but because Joss and Pika especially have the like a generals type. I mean, they're not generals, they're captains, but or admirals, but have a larger scale view, then it does feel bigger, and they're literally in space in the atmosphere. And then of course you have Admiral Coronaro's come onto the scene, as far as I've read, and everything with General Weiss, and so they've definitely layering things up really well and meeting different audiences, and so can have that complexity. One last note I wanted to mention, also Elping's also changed, right? He was just this engineer. It's like, I don't want to fight, and I ship them in part because they've converged. They come together. They used to be just very different. Like, he wasn't a soldier; he was an engineer. This was the soldier. This circumstance that they're in has pushed them together, and so a lot of planning goes into all this. That's the thing. And like you said with Lydia, she doesn't have much real estate at all to work with, especially given when I know about a print medium like this, a magazine. You have very strict word lengths because you only have this much pages because it's a magazine. It's a physical thing. It's not a novel because the novel could have whatever limit of pages.
Yeah.
But here this is strict. So really really powerful way to, it's a really powerful way to limit a story in a good way, to say, look, what are the constraints on a story? And it's the challenge to tell a meaningful thread in this format, and she did such a great job. So looking forward to whatever is next month. In the next one, there's going to be more High Republic, not horrible High Republic, but more Insider short stories. So looking forward to continuing with that, even though we say goodbye to the High Republic in the Insider short stories, as that comes to an end. Now there are Trials of the Jedi, HRA 19, HRA 20, and the finale. And that is it.
Yeah, the finale isn't out until like literally the last week of the month. I'm like, come on, guys, get this out earlier already. So, got to make me wait over a whole month to figure out.
Because I've got to catch up. There it is. I got to finish Trials. So we will do. I'll have to see. I'm thinking it might just be the best bet to finish Trials and then we do HRA. I have it scheduled when we're going to do HRA 19 and 20 together. Hopefully all of Trials.
They said do not read 20 until you finish the book.
Yeah. So
it'll be a finale like after the events.
Yeah. So I'm going through Trials at a pretty good clip, right? Gotta say, for me, for all the other things I've gone on. So there you go. Any last thoughts on Tales from the Occlusion Zone, The Will to Fight? We move on.
Yeah, it's just funny how I remember going around trying to find an insider for the first time to read the very first High Republic short story, knowing it was going to be the chronologically first story.
True.
I was driving all around Hamilton trying to find it. I found it in a Barnes and Noble. So
nice.
yeah,
there we go. First time I've ever subscribed to Insider. There we go. It's how they get you through the door. All right, moving to Marvel. Over to Marvel. We got Jedi Knights number 5. This is written by Mark Guggenheim, art by Madabek Muzabekov, colors by Luis Guerrero, letters by VC's Clayton Coles, and cover by Raza. Jedi Masters Sierra Longa and Yaddle face the darkest mystery. Yaddle and Sierra must unravel a strange situation involving the Trade Federation. Guest starring the mysterious Count Dooku. Will Yaddle save the life of the man destined to kill her? Very fascinating. Chris, I'll throw this one to you. What'd you think? What'd you think and what'd you feel about Jedi Knights number 5?
Oh, this thing was awesome, man. This was one of the best comics of the year. Easily in top 5. I mean, I just going off a feeling alone. I most of the time I read these comics, I'm like, okay, that was a good story. Then I come back to like today and I'm like, oh, I have to remember what I read.
Yeah.
Like obviously it's good, but usually like they don't leave that much of an impact like this one left. Where I'm like, oh man, this is like a critical moment in a character's story that could have been relayed in like another medium besides comics. Like that's how important this one feels. Like there's a weight and there's a significance involved with the idea of, first of all, seeing a story set this many years before Phantom Menace, seeing a Count Dooku like interacting with the Jedi Order when he's not a Jedi anymore, like part of the Jedi Order. Seeing like the what if scenario of like, oh my gosh, if Yaddle actually just let him be like shackled with the Wookiees, like she would never die in the future. Like there was like some big moments of fate and destiny that I feel like had such a big weight to them, which is just refreshing to see, because we talk about the comics every week, but like when's the last time we really read something besides like maybe the High Republic stuff that really like completely like impacted the characters? And it's crazy to think that this happened in basically an anthology series of comics for the most part, where every adventure is like not really building off of the previous one. They're all just different like short stories essentially. And it's just a badass issue. I mean, you got Wookiees trying to get Dooku, and then you got Newt Gunray, and you got this other guy going on about these like different Trade Federation things. It's like this is just I don't know. This felt so full of like lore. I love the density of this whole thing. So yeah, what'd you think?
Yeah, it was really, really well crafted, really well done. I mean, you said, how often do we get a story in this medium? You've had the weight of a screen medium, which is great because it has shot for shot from, I don't know if it's shot for shot, but clearly, obviously, it's the moment in Tales of the Jedi with Yaddle and Dooku, which so it shows that moment and shows us exactly what we're supposed to think, and we know the weight of that moment. I mean, that's his real. That's the atrocity he commits in order to give himself to the dark side effectively. We don't know that fully, but it's a pretty terrible thing to do, to just kill Yaddle like that in front of Palpatine. And he does it, and his lightsaber still blue, I think presumably bleeding it shortly after that. But yeah, the weight and the moral conundrum, right? She has a feeling. Yaddle has this feeling of, okay, there's some importance, almost like Gollum a little bit, with having some importance to the story. You got to keep him alive. How Gandalf says got to Frodo, got to keep Gollum alive. Why, we don't fully know, but I mean we know, but she doesn't fully know. And yeah, that moral conundrum, she has this foreboding, right, that part of this might involve sacrifice, the way Madabek and Louis drew her face and her performance. Really that's serene, but also troubled, like that in that meditation. It was she's carrying, like we said, she's carrying the weight of the future, because you think about it, right? I mean, Dooku helps Palpatine set up the Clone Wars and helps Palpatine set up Vader in Revenge of the Sith effectively. And so everything involving Vader is carried into this story just implicitly. And of course, everything in Return of the Jedi, then Destiny and Luke's Destiny, and all coming together. I mean, just in a little moment, right? And it just reminds me of how wonderful and amazing the whole interconnected canon is, with these characters being links in a chain, and links in an essential chain that leads to the Return of the Jedi and the end of the Sith, and everything that it requires, at least the story we're given from George Lucas requires, and how Yaddle has her little part in this. Obviously we don't want her to die. Bryce Dallas Howard wants to brings this character to life so well, but and so does Mark Guggenheim, really reflecting on the moral dilemma. Are you willing to continue in something that potentially dark, that interesting? Ironheart is starting to play with this, I think, a little bit, at least where I've gotten to in episode 4. Continue something dark in order to maybe bring more light in that theme. And I mean, just very talk about with Lydia Kang, like very short real estate, Mark Guggenheim, Madabek and Luis and everyone, in such just in one panel. I mean, that's the panel. One of my panels of the panel of the week would be, I can't find it, but like just in the meditation, but also that splash page when we're from the Tales of the Jedi scene of Dooku raising his lightsaber. It's a whole splash page. Like it was really effective plotting out, because you feel the stunning moment of it. And of course, I mean, I do want to go back, and I should have gone back and watched the Tales of the Jedi episode, but it's only 15 minutes, guys. I should have done it, but I will after this, because really, really great. Again, thinking through. So this is your point of why getting a moment that's so impactful on the character. Thinking through, okay, here's this moment on screen. What can we do to build back into it, or build it back into, what I'm getting at? Like, build back the story to see where it came from, and that's what paper can do so wonderfully. So
I really like the idea of how do Jedi react to like one of their people of their order, not longer of their order, like they're almost an enemy. And I keep forgetting the new Jedi's name. I forgot to mention it in my review. I just couldn't think of it on when I was recording my review. I can't think of the name now. We're recording live.
Tira Longa.
Yeah, Longa. So like the idea of like she's got animosity towards Dooku for leaving, and it's like this guy could be dangerous. It's like we haven't really dealt with that in Star Wars at this point in time. Like he's not a Sith, or at least he's not vocal about being a Sith. But like, how do they react to that? So I thought that was like a cool little detail. And when he was talking to the Wookiees, and there was like that cryptic tease of like, oh yeah, I work for the Trade Federation because like my employer sees a benefit of working with them, and I have to do what he says to bring success or whatever. And it was like, oh, he is straight up talking about like him working for Palpatine, and they're getting the wheels going with the Trade Federation to start doing things. And this is, as the title suggests at the top, several years before the Phantom Menace. Like, this is great for me. Like, I want to know more about Dooku doing these like little missions for Palpatine. Like, there's so much value and so much like breadth of storytelling that they could do. Like, give us a whole freaking ongoing series about a Dooku and a Palpatine prior to the Phantom Menace and Attack of the Clones. Like, there is so much richness that you can mine from a story like that. And this is why I get so excited when we get stories like these, because they are so refreshing. Like, we're constantly dealing with the sequel trilogy with another Poe Dameron story. No offense, Ethan Sachs or anybody, but it's like, we've been here, we've done this already. This is something new, and it's like it's before the Phantom Menace. We don't have a lot of stories like that right now, and it's not in the High Republic. So it's like, but it's telling about the dark side when they're in hiding and how they're maneuvering, and that to me is just the stuff I want to see now more of.
Yeah, I mean it's an impressive story. Again, George, our friend Dan likes to say, with the original trilogy, George changed the world with this revolutionary 3 films, and then he did it again, with the prequels. And I'm eating well again. Hashtag prequels. I'm eating well with this series. Exactly. I mean, it brings out what I love about these space wizards, good and bad, and just the way the political machinations built up. So yeah, it goes into what they're doing while they're hiding, or how they're hiding, but it goes into why, right? Dooku has this brilliant line, and a very, very poignant telling line of that he knows there's some who are willing to do what the Jedi aren't willing to do, effectively, I'm paraphrasing. And yeah, like it's a line that sticks with you, right? And we've seen in Tales of the Jedi, in Dooku Jedi Lost, we've seen him talk about this already, but here, he really brings it out. He's telling Yaddle he's already started to turn, really started to, we know he's working with Palpatine as well, but here's why, right? He really believes that there needs to be this decisive action to bring order and justice, order and peace to the galaxy, which of course ultimately looks like a giant space station that can destroy a planet. But here, he's really given into it and exploring that. Just like Kevin Scott goes into this complicated relationship he has with the Order at the end, right? He's a friend of the Jedi. I mean, that's from when Yaddle explains to Sira why he has his lightsaber, why he's still free to do what he wants. He's a friend to the Jedi. Yoda let him be a friend to the Jedi. Again, there's that destiny of showing mercy, showing giving him the benefit of the doubt, and Yaddle saying it's not, Yaddle giving him the benefit of the doubt or letting him live just based on her sense of the destiny of the galaxy hangs in the balance. And it's a great contrast also because Dooku sees it as this weakness of they're not willing to do what must be done.
Yeah.
Whereas Yaddle's on, no, we got to preserve life and be sensitive to the will of the Force, whatever it is. And of course, she's, all is the Force. I mean, she has a similar type of, whatever the Force is calling, she'll listen to. So many different things, so many different layers poured into this. I don't have any more to add.
No, like here we go again, like the depth of it, like the philosophy of explaining Dooku going through this and explaining what he thinks is the best use of the Force versus Yaddle's in the Jedi Order and why he has differences. Like this is in a one-shot comic. This is rich. This is impactful, and I absolutely love that. Looking through, let's see. I mean, I think I said my part on all of this right now. The melding of the Tales content interwoven through this feels like a very big moment. Newt Gunray, it's always good to see him in the beginnings of the Trade Federation, or at least a moment of the Trade Federation before the Battle of Naboo, seeing where their headspace is, what they're trying to do with this freighter, and they're trying to. This other criminal gang is a front, and it's got a cool machinations going on there.
Yeah, I mean, it's interesting with this run. Some episodes seem to be a bit more removed from the Skywalker saga. This one hews very closely, right? And again, it is good that he took a screen story. I mean, the story group, I think, and I do wonder what involvement the story group had with developing the story, because again, taking a screen story and really hewing so close to, I mean, well, Tales of the Jedi, but also the Phantom Menace, right? Everything happening there. Of course, you can't touch that, but you can again build things back into it and can back into it a little bit. And
this couldn't have been better timing for me to read the story, because actually, like, when I get off this call, I'm going to be going back down and painting more of my Wookiee warriors. Nice. So when these guys popped up, I was like, I'm painting my Wookiees like as I'm reading this kind of thing.
That's great.
Right, in the last couple of days, I've been painting them up, and it was an interesting lore tidbit, because they're all like, oh, the Wookiees they're usually not like criminals, like they're usually benevolent, like people that are defending their home planet and stuff. Like, you don't usually find a lot of them besides like Black Chrysanthemum. About like, hey, these guys are actually like pretty bad dudes, and they're trying to do stuff, and they're trying to make a living or whatever. But then the part that I found was really striking too is when Dooku gets loose, he gets a saber, and he just starts like chopping things up. He's about to kill the chief. And then that's when Yaddle steps in and intercepts him, and it was like this really cool moment. I think that was also a full splash page as well, vertical. Just like her blocking this very tall Dooku and how tiny she is, and it's like, dang.
Yeah, definitely mixing the deep philosophical moments with the exciting action with Dooku, especially. It kind of reminded me a little bit of Legacy of Vader, with Kylo Ren able to break out. Just summoning the lightsaber and going ham. I mean, I don't think Kylo Ren does that, but I don't quite remember. But yeah, it's definitely really, I be hard pressed to say if it's the best of the series so far, but probably. Definitely, again, really thought out these screen moments and then giving us a story that fills out the depths of those. So yeah, great job, Mr. Guggenheim et al. Any last thoughts on this one?
Yeah, I'll be definitive about it. I'll say this is the best one so far. I really liked issue number 1. I like how this issue is just very much dynamic in the way it tells the stories, whether it be like all splash pages with creatures or an ensemble like the first one, right? Like, we're getting a lot of different samplings of like what the creative team's work. And what really amazes me is like Madabek Musbekov and the art team. This Madabek hasn't changed. Like, even though like the craziness of like how these things are plotted out is different, like he still remains like the lead artist on this thing. Being consistent to the different kind of artwork all throughout is really cool.
Yeah, different kinds of artwork, different story. You know, we haven't. Here's the thing: it's supposed to have this. Apparently, has a through line. At New York Comic Con, Mark told me the through line with Qui-Gon, but we haven't seen it yet in the last 2 issues or something.
Oh, that was my one negative. I'm happy you brought that up. Like, where has that storyline been? I do feel a little bit like let down. Like, we're in one miniseries already, basically. Like, we're like the first volume's down. Like, that's 5 issues now. So the fact that we've only dealt with that for like 2 of the issues, I think, or 3 maybe, is a little concerning, although it looks like from the teaser for the next month, we're going to get Qui-Gon. So, and they're also dealing with an assassin. So I would imagine they're going to pick it back up. So we'll see.
I mean, it's leaning into, I have my decaf. It's leaning into the anthology nature of it, I think. So I'm okay with that. I do like, that these Wookiees, they're trying to make their way to the galaxy. You know, Santi will come along. He's just trying to make his way in the galaxy. They're a little too big to be cute, I think, but fair enough. There we go. And just say whatever. If you're ever wondering, we're talking about the comic book that is scrolling on the bottom of the screen. There we go. How's it going, Tyler?
There we go.
Great timing. Perfect timing, Mr. Smith.
With that being said, we're going to get into it.
Let's do this right now. Hyperspace Stories, Codebreaker number 2, written by Ethan Sachs. Art by Mark Yarza and Jose Marzan Jr. Colors by Nicola Riggi. Letters by who else? Comic Crafts, Tyler Smith. and Jimmy Betancourt. and cover by Diego Galindo. On a remote Outer Rim planet, Poe Dameron and BB-8 discover a First Order base where the enemy keeps their fabled codebreaker, used to crack secret resistance messages. Can the two heroes infiltrate and then escape the high security compound guarded by merciless stormtroopers? And what mysterious technology will they find inside? I gotta say, I enjoyed this one. This was a fun romp through a First Order base. The banter between BB-8 and Poe. It was written by Ethan, but for a second I thought, oh, Mark Guggenheim with droids again, making the laughs with droids. It made me think of the D Squad run is part of Dark Droids from I guess last year or 2 years ago. It was just the banter, like they have just in sync, and how they're kind of chirping each other because BB-8's able to actually jump into action, literally jumping into action, taking out the stormtroopers. And Poe's like, I got a plan. Oh, BB-8's no, you need a new plan, basically. and yeah, so definitely. Again, hyperspace stories, Dark Horse, all ages, fun run through, really just enjoyable, funny story. And then you got this this code breaker. That was the big cliffhanger, that the device that the First Order is using, it turns out to be a person. Turns out to be, I guess, immune girl. I think she's immune. A girl, and there's a kid. Use the same sort of thing with Lobot and that plugged in, but able to talk more, I guess. And kind of constantly doubting them and second guessing them. Like, is this how it's supposed to go? Is this what's happening? And then turns out, becoming key to the story, because she mapped out the city that they end up in, and they're on the run. And then I know you'll probably get to this too, but then we cut to that pilot who had supposedly gunned Poe down. I forgot his name. And
Baron. Not the
Major Von Rag. Well, it is Baron Von Rag, clapping, joke clapping, like, great job, buddy. The banter there too, the jockeying, bravado, all that. These First Order jock pilots, right? Really, it's an all ages comic, but it really felt familiar in the tropes. So in the tropes, I shouldn't use tropes. In the references, in the archetypes is a better way of putting it. Like the kind of when Top Gun has comic relief in a way, right? So again, I think this was a good second issue. Really, exciting, daring escape ends on another cliffhanger. They're being fired at by the pilot. I forget his name. They're escaped to the mountains. Poe, BB-8,
Banshee of Festoon or something, right?
Oh yeah. I guess that's his kind of nickname. Yeah, there. And so the escape, but yeah, ends on another cliffhanger, which I'm guessing the rest of this run will end on a cliffhanger. It's only a 4-issue run, but it's I enjoyed it. I guess there isn't too much. It isn't going to be very deep, but it's for kids, teenagers who want to get into comics, for folks who don't want something as deep necessarily as Jedi Knights. This is folks who like Poe Dameron. Definitely recommend picking up Codebreaker numbers 1 and 2 so far. Sorry, I'm doing all right. So yeah, those are my thoughts on Codebreaker number 2. What'd you think? What did you feel?
My thoughts are aligned with yours. I think that this is a very good, like, thematic feel to Force Awakens, right? Yeah. With Poe Dameron breaking out of the First Order base with Finn there on the finalizer Star Destroyer. You got the same vibes. You got that same kind of quick, witty, whiz bang action adventure that you would expect from picking up like a general Star Wars comic. And I got thoughts back. I don't know if you read the book Heir to the Jedi.
I haven't read it.
something Hearn. I forget his first name.
Or AJ Hearn or something.
So there is this kind of reminds me of the same sort of plot
Mm-hmm.
where Luke Skywalker,
Kevin
during
Hearn.
the Empire, like during the reign of the Empire, whatever. Luke Skywalker comes across this species called a Given, who are exceptionally innate with this ability to be able to do mathematical equations, and they're basically a code breaker for all intents and purposes. So, and the Given basically has the same kind of vibe that this Mune character, and her name is Cheka.
Oh yeah,
Cheka is the name of the female Mune. Very literal kind of speaker, like very almost like a robotic for a humanoid to speak that way. But it's also pretty funny because she has like, she's really serious, but like she's like passive aggressive or whatever, and like she just says some like really nice burns to Poe Dameron, and he's just like, oh. Like there's some sick burns in this comic book, and I really appreciate the delivery and the comedy here is good stuff. And you know, even the stuff with the puffer pigs was just great. I
forgot the puffer pigs.
I love puffer pigs, and it's great when we see them and they're getting involved with the First Order and they're getting in the way, and you know, and it ends with I don't think they shot at That's the least of their concerns. Didn't they blow up his ship?
Oh yeah, maybe they end up. Yeah, they end up.
Because they're like, oh, we gotta find another transport. It's like crap.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, you have the high brass of the Resistance with Leia, like talking to like the New Republic official, and they're like, well, we guys told you to not go to do this mission. You weren't sanctioned. And all this kind of thing. So I like how we're still getting Ethan Sachs is fleshing out like the often neglected relationship between the Resistance and New Republic. Like we really didn't know what the heck that was when the sequel trilogy came out. So the Resistance was basically the Rebel Alliance at that point. Right. So it's cool getting that more implications and more, you know, concrete evidence. And we got a lot of it from the Mandalorian verse so far with different TV shows and stuff. Like, what is the discrepancy? What is the difference between these two factions and whatnot? What is the New Republic at this time? What's going on here? Also, love the First Order stuff. I like how we're getting a bit of more character out of that faction. Essentially, like we never really seen, at least right now, the Empire having like, we know they had these like ace pilots and stuff, but it's cool that we get to see from like the First Order, like, hey, they have like these guys just hanging out. There's different decorated pilots that customize their helmets, and one of them is from the Star Wars Resistance animated series, which is always cool, Baron Bonreg. And then you have the Banshee there. So it's like, all right, I like how we're establishing the lore of the First Order is like, from what I know, like they are primarily like very good with their ships. Their ties are very advanced. I think they're more, don't quote me on this, I think they're more like based on like flight type of combat than more infantry for the most part. It seems like that's how they're kind of built in the games, I think, and whatnot. Like, they have obviously infantry, but like they excel more than the Empire, I think, did at like space combat. Like their vehicles are better made. They have shields on their TIE fighters, stuff like that. So it's cool to actually get a deeper dive into that. I don't know if that's what Ethan was really intending there, but I like that kind of look at things a lot. But yeah, I mean, looking at the overall scope of the story, I'll agree with you. Like, there is not a lot of like depth to mine out of this specifically. I do like how, you know, of course, the comedy, I said this before, but like within the first like couple panels, I want to say like Poe Dameron had this like bright idea, like, oh, we're perfectly fine. I have my uniform on. We'll get through this, no problem. Like the first stormtroopers they come across, like already know the ruse is up, and he's like, well, it's kind of like a Han Solo sort of thing, right?
Yeah.
Like, he's like, well, I just got to resort to what I'm good at, just firing and running. So it was like I said, it's a good, bright, cheery, kind of fun-filled action adventure. That, like you said, you know, it's a good recommendation for anybody that's a fan of the sequels. I think they're going to want to pick this one up.
And even like Han Solo, but also, I mean, kind of the Last Jedi, right? It kind of had the with Finn and Rose going around the ship there, trying to, and even in Canto Bight, but also just put it on the uniform. I mean, that's the thing that Star Wars does a lot too, is the good guys putting on the bad guy uniform to sneak around. But here, putting on the First Order and thinking it'll work, and then BB-8 with his hat, right? He gets to wear a funny hat. In the future, he'll wear a whole garbage bin to try and blend in. Either way, doesn't work very well. But yeah, those again, these little funny moments that bring some levity, like you said, bring some character, some wrinkled texture to the sequel trilogy. The parts of the sequel trilogy that didn't quite get them as much. So yeah, pretty fun book. Looking forward to what comes next with this one. Gonna continue that cliffhanger. There we go. Only 4 issues. I think the Dark Horse site said 5, but then this has issue 2 of 4. So that's the pattern.
I think Bad Batch has been the only 5-issue miniseries coming from Dark Horse. Everything after that is all 4, including the Nautilin one.
Right.
With Kit Fisto coming out.
That's coming out soon.
That's coming out this month, right?
I think so. Yeah,
it's got to be. It was either June or July.
Yeah. All right. Any more to say before we move on? Move ahead. Right, we got a fun comment here. Aaron, welcome to Tractor and Comics Reviews. We're talking about this is the on the Underworld Network. There are our weekly, for those who haven't seen us before. So the weekly Star Wars comic book reviews. Whatever comes up, we sit and talk to them, as you've seen here. And have we been following the High Republic comics? The answer is yes, we have. We've talked any and all Marvel or Dark Horse Star Wars comic books, even the manga, the High Republic manga, and the Hyperspace Stories is Dark Horse. And we've been following them, and we definitely reviewed all of ever since we started in 2023, every High Republic book that came out. And so including, and we even did a whole episode, a part of an episode on the audio play that is tied into the High Republic comics. And so I mean, I thought there was the Marvel High Republic run last year. It was really fascinating with Keeve and Lorna, and how Lorna's kind of pulling Keeve to not the dark side, but to less trust in the Jedi, and that was even more so into the audio play, and then even more so into Fear of the Jedi, which was also fun and spectacular. And then of course, I've held off on, just to answer Tyler's question a little bit too. Again, mentioned earlier in the show, I've held off on High Republic Adventures 19. Chris has read all of Trials. You've read High Republic Adventures 19. You will read High Republic Adventures 20 when it comes out. When I'm finished Trials of the Jedi, I will read High Republic Adventures 19 and 20 as well. So yes, the answer is yes. Chris, maybe I'll let you answer this comment. What have you thought of High Republic comics overall?
Yeah, I thought the High Republic Adventures are my favorite ones. As of the most recent things, I said my piece with the Fear of the Jedi miniseries, although that was kind of oddly placed. It just didn't see the unfortunately the point of it really, other than just like padding out like another like area of like where the battle was. Right. So take with it what you will, but like the High Republic Adventures have been solid. I've been really liking the crossover that's been happening with the different characters floating in from like the young adult novels or the young reader novels and different things floating in. And just Harvey Talabal does some amazing artwork, and everybody on the team, but like just the vibrancy, the color, but also how it handles like real life like themes and different things, and it aims them to have people that are younger to learn something from them in a Star Wars lens. So yeah, definitely that's what I think so far. Yeah,
definitely great work by DJO and Harvey and the and Michael Talabau and everyone. Yes, I'm definitely holding off. I'm not reading 19 yet because, I mean, it spoiled a moment in Trials. But yeah, if anyone's spoiler averse, hold off on 20 until you've read Trials of the Jedi. Thanks for that point, Tyler. Thanks for that question, and Aaron, much appreciated. Again, welcome to Tractor Beam Comics Reviews. Glad to have you on board. I mean, I'm keep on following Keeve's character throughout and seeing what because we know from Calvin Scott's Dooku Jedi Lost audio play that she leaves the Order. So why? What's going on there? What's behind there? We don't know when that's actually going to happen. I mean, I don't know when that's going to happen because but definitely a lot of things have been seeded in that are fascinating. Tears of the what am I talking about? Tears of the Nameless is the novel. Echoes of Fear, the Dark Horse comic by Greg Mann. Fantastic. My guy Reith. Going through time, learn about the past, learning about the present.
Good old Barnabas Vim.
So yeah, again, thanks for the question. Glad to have you aboard, and looking forward to comments further on. Let us know in the chat what you've thought of, what you've read, and we'll keep you on our mind. There we go. Okay, I think that's just about wraps things up. Next week, so Legacy of Vader number 6 comes out. Because it's different schedules. We took a break last week, so we're also talking about number 5. Going to have our resident sequelist Joel Davis back on to talk all about this Kylo Ren story involving Naboo and different things. Although, I mean, number 5 is kind of odd because they don't kind of cap on. But I don't know. Chris is nodding his head for some reason.
I have a lot to get into with number 5. Let me tell you.
All right. There we go.
But I'm excited for 6 because, real quick, because when this thing is packaged as a trade paperback, it says issues 1 through 6. So this will finish our first arc. Mm-hmm. I'm excited because of where 5 leaves off. That means we're going to get resolution, most likely, for that place where it's going. To be cryptic about the tease, might all happen in one. See, it seems like it's going to be an action-packed, very informative issue on where things are going. So,
in Charles we trust. I'm looking forward to that. Yeah, and then it raises the question: how long is this comic book going to be?
Well, there's a certain event that is happening in about 3 weeks' time.
Yes. Will I be at that event? Yes.
I don't know. Will you?
San Diego Comic-Con?
Yeah.
And
Charles Soule is on that panel.
Yeah.
What else is he going to talk about?
It's Charles. Who knows?
So hopefully there's some kind of thing like, okay, like this series, whether or not he'll announce it's going to end at 12 or 18, or I don't think he would explain back past that point, but we'll know more. I'll preview more issues of what's coming next. So.
Honestly, Chris, I've sat next to you at New York Comic Con twice. And I mean, the first time at the publishing panels twice. Sat next to you at New York Comic Con more than twice. But in 2 different publishing panels, this last publishing panel told us jack all.
Yeah. You're right.
So we'll see. We'll see. On that note, I mean, I am going to San Diego Comic Con. I will be able to get into whatever as much as I can, as best I can. There's no Marvel Hall H, so there's Star Trek Hall H, and there's Star Wars Hall not 22.
Well, you might be lucking out now because you could probably actually get into Hall H now that all these crazy Marvel fans are going to be lining up for like the day before, like I seen.
Yeah. So, but yeah, so at some point here, Ion Cannon will Ion Cannon will talk about previewing San Diego Comic-Con, and what I might see, what might be there.
Maul Shadow Lord, give us a panel. They've had a Clone Wars panel at San Diego Comic-Con. Where else are you going to premiere this thing? Show the first episode, get the hype rolling, announce it for January 2026. There you go.
That would be something that I need. All my eyes are on that Black Series, Revenge of the Sith. Oh my word!
Oh yeah,
I'm so looking forward to that. I hope I can get it.
The Black Series are easy to get there. Believe it or not, I picked up my it's kind of behind. It's behind a bunch of the mall and the speeder bike from Phantom Menace.
Nice.
I picked that up, and it was like the last day of the con. Like they're just basically getting rid of stuff. I'm like, hey, do you guys have the exclusive? And they're like, yeah, here you go. Like it was that easy, really?
Yeah.
Okay.
So yeah, I mean, I hopefully can get that done on the Wednesday. But yeah.
Oh wait, no wait, I made a mistake. I did have a reservation for that one. My mistake.
Yeah. So again, well, the reservations are Monday. So this coming Monday. So
but if you go up to any booth at the end on like a Sunday, like I did, like I ended up getting the Mattel Jurassic World Jimmy Buffett like margarita pterodactyl attacking him thing that we have down the shore near our tiki bar, which blends in perfectly. So you can always just walk up to the booths or just try to get rid of stuff at that point, whatever didn't sell.
Yeah, so here's hoping. Also going to be going to Disneyland and hopefully grabbing that Elzar Man lightsaber. It's still in Geos lightsaber, but in phase 3 it's an Elzar Man lightsaber.
I don't even know they had any left.
If they do, if they have them left, if it's there in Doc Ondars. So yeah, we'll talk all about that at some point, maybe next week. We'll see. The 23rd is preview night, so we will be taking a break that night, but definitely onward to next week, Legacy of Vader number 5 and 6. But that does it for the Tractor Beam Comics reviews. Thanks everyone for joining us in the chat. Let us know what you thought of the comics. This week's comics, next week's comics, just a whole everything with, especially High Republic's ending. Let us know what you think of that. No spoilers, please, for that. And Chris, again, thanks for jumping in, for going on strong. This is our I can do math here. This is our 88th episode that we've done since we started doing this. So I know it's 138 because I did 50 on my own before, but it's our 88th episode. We'll got to do something special for 100. That'll be fun. But where can they find you on the internet?
Yeah, you can find me on Twitter talking about Nintendo video games, talking about Marvel stuff that is huge, big breaking. I'm teasing something for you, man.
Okay.
The last episode of that series, there's a big event that happens.
Yeah,
that's as crazy as I'll say. I was shocked. I was shocked. What?
I saw your Facebook post, but I didn't actually I didn't read any details.
Okay.
I just saw they
bring someone in. Me like, go, oh, they did it. And I was like, yeah.
Yeah.
So I'm happy. I'm riding a high off of Ironheart. I gave it basically a 7 out of 10.
Yeah.
I didn't do a review for it or anything, but that's my thought. I think it's a good entertaining show. Everybody should watch.
Yeah.
Looking forward to what comes down the pipe. But anyway, I digress. So Star Raptor on Twitter, all that content, youtube.com/Star Raptor, just holding steady with the reviews right now on the comics and whatever else from Star Wars comes out. But yeah, it's been good. It was nice to have a week off, but it's also nice to be back talking Star Wars again.
There we go. Yeah, it's been fun. Yeah, definitely chill. I had a 4-day weekend because of Canada Day, so that was nice. But yeah, glad to be back in the saddle as well. You can find me on Monday nights, Mondays 8 right here on the Underworld Network, Underworld channel, with the Ion Cannon podcast with Joel talking Monday nights. That's 8:30 p.m. Eastern, 5:30 p.m. Pacific. This Monday, on the night before Canada Day, we talked about Canada and Star Wars. It was fun. This coming Monday, a few days after America Day, I know it's called Independence Day. I know that. We're talking about America and Star Wars. Probably a lot more to say. We have a lot more to say. But as our usual, very political, in-depth discussions that we do there. You can follow my personals at MNAUG1138. That's my Instagram, Threads, and Blue Sky. You can follow me on the Bird app, on Twitter at NAUG485. Also Instagram, beaches.foodie, Foodie, on Instagram for the bless your timeline with pizza and chicken and ice cream. I have one thing you want to interject there. Go for it.
Finish your thought.
Okay. Pizza, chicken, and ice cream. God bless your timeline with that. And just find us on the tractor beam, and of course, next week. Sorry, well, you go for your thought, and I'll remind us.
I've been listening to the new re-recording by Mark Thompson of Star Wars Shadows of the Empire.
Interesting. Yeah.
And oh my gosh, now I know why people hate Zizor. I mean, I've read the book before.
Yeah.
But man, is he creepy as all hell.
So he's well written, is what you're saying, and well performed, of course, by Mark Buchanan, Legend Thompson.
Yeah, the Zizor, man. He is quite a slimy character.
Yeah.
And but Mark Thompson, man, he I don't listen to a lot of the audio drama stuff or audio books, but it was like he does so well with a whiny Mark Hamill. At one point, there was like a really swole, buffed up like Twi'lek, and he's talking like he's like Arnold Schwarzenegger with a German accent, and he's like doing Darth Vader very well. Like this guy is like, this is why we talked to him at New York Comic Con once or twice, and so this is why the guy gets all the roles. So I'm listening to one of my favorite Star Wars novels in a different light for the first time with the new recording, which is cool. So
Mark Buchanan, Legend Thompson, that's great. But yeah, so that does it for Dr. Beam Comics reviews. Next week again, Legacy Invaders, better number 5 and 6. Pick them up at your local comic book shop. Pick up the books we looked at today. Your local comic book shop, including Insider, they might have it. You never know. Check that out. But until then, till next week, happy reading.